I was thinking about traveling to North Carolina, which was like 100 miles away, to get a $23 kit, thinking I'm saving. Like I would have spent more on gas just so I could get this size and be real grade for $23. But yeah, I was hooked, man.
Welcome to another episode of the Newtype Notebook. I'm Ricky. You can find me on Instagram at Ricky_glues. What is there to say about Coop? He is one of the 3 Undergated podcast members and a good friend of mine. When he hit me up after Plamo and said he wanted to build this Master Grade Gundam GP03 with me, I couldn't say no. In this episode, we'll talk about how he got his start with gunpla, and do a deep dive into the ways we stretched our modeling skills with this 20-plus-year-old Master Grade. What's the oldest kit you've built? Or what's the oldest kit in your backlog? Let us know in the comments. Maybe you'll be inspired after our conversation to give it a try. Thanks for listening, and hope you enjoy. So you're the last but not least Undergated member to be on the Newtype Notebook.
Yeah.
It's awesome to have you on. It's So
great to be on, man. This is fun. I'm glad you started this. We need more of this in the community. And this is an intimate session that you can have with people in the community. So I'm glad you was able to pick up the flag and kind of run with it.
It's been a lot of fun, dude. Actually, just every guest that I've had on so far has taught me so much, and like I'm super excited for everyone to hear what's coming up. So I want to start with kind of how you and I got to know each other.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about it on the Undergated, but you were the first member of the Undergated that I actually met in person. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but yeah, we were at the Model Mania show at the Museum of Flight out here in Seattle.
I was about to say Boeing Museum, but not a Museum of Flight.
Right. And that was actually just a year ago. Like, or earlier
coming up on it, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been February this past year. And at the time, I hadn't started listening to the pod yet. So I actually met you. I knew there were a couple people that I was following that they had a podcast, like, but I hadn't had a chance to like sit down and listen to it. But then I thought, I recognize him from Instagram. I'm gonna go say hi. And you just happened to be in the city for that one show, pretty much, right? And you're hanging out
with CD,
yeah,
and his family.
How was it? How was that for you?
It was fun. It was a new experience, to say the least. Give you kind of like a backstory. I have a small family, right? Like my mom's adopted. She's from Japan, and my dad it's only like my aunt who passed and my uncle and my dad. So we have a small family. And they grew up in New York. And the reason I bring that up is I didn't travel a whole lot growing up when it comes to outside of the East Coast. So it was every once in a blue moon, we'll go down to Disney World in Florida because I live in Virginia. So we'll go to Disney World or somewhere down in Florida. But maybe twice a year, we'll, as a kid, go up to like Brooklyn to see my grandfather a few times a year. So I never really traveled. So first time I got on an airplane was Plamo of 2024. I got on an airplane. That was fun experience with Austin. And then, but it was only an hour, right? We only flew down to Atlanta and it was only an hour. My girlfriend at the time, she surprised me with tickets. She got up with CD and surprised me with tickets to go see him for this past February. So I was like flying by myself at like international airports. It was a trip because I was like, I'll tell a CD now. It feels like a blur. I was talking to him the other day about. I'm like, I can't remember when was my second flight. I flew from Richmond to I think it was Fort Worth, Texas,
Okay.
and then flew into Seattle. In Seattle was beautiful flying in, and then got up with CD and chilled out there. And ironically, like we went to Hobbytown, like right after I got off the plane. We went to a ramen spot, got some ramen, went to Hobbytown, and saw Copa there. He was just happy to be there at the same time. I was like, oh wow, that's
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, right. He was just
He's
happy to
just
be in
there.
the store. He was just there at Hobbytown. I was like, oh shit, there you go, Copa already. Wow. So it was fun to see Copa in person. Make sure y'all follow him too. He's a big enthusiast when it comes to Gundam and helping the community out. Next day was Saturday. That's when I got to meet with Skyfire and then Dan's a Dragoon Dan. So Lang and Dan and Cobra Play a little bit more and their crew. And it was shocking how much heat they put on the table for just only like five people. It was only like, I think 5, 6 of us.
They
Right?
they took up like a whole row. Yeah, it was
Yeah, a whole row. And I'm like, man,
insane. Yeah.
how much hits did y'all bring? You know, I don't even think I brought any. No, I brought the Caliburn.
You brought the Caliburn, yeah.
Yeah, and then CD brought, and I was like, they had tables upon tables, and I'm like, man, they brought their whole gallery out, but it was dope. It was dope, and then I, met you, and you was like, I put the GM Sniper over there. I was like, all right, let me go check it out, and I checked it out, and that shit blew me away, man. That GM, something about, I don't know what you do with your finishes. It looks like it's straight plastic. Like I don't see no flaws. When I saw that GM Sniper, I was like, it looked like it was like a P Bandai release, man. Like,
I love that I
just a
snapped up for
different
something.
color. Like it was like you could tell when you look at a kit, like, oh, that's painted. But I looked at yours and it was like I couldn't tell. And that's the same thing about the GP03. I can't tell if it's painted or not. And I'm like, golly,
Yeah.
I'm like, God, dog.
Yeah, well, that was the first time I ever put any models on the table at a show or a competition. And it was really you that told me, like, dude, no, you need to compete. Like, you need to put some stuff up for a competition because, like, Instagram is its own little monster, right? Like, you just see
Right.
the world's best, right, every day on your feed, and you're like, man, I can't stack up to that. And so it's like a comparison is the thief of joy, right? And you're always looking at just the world's greatest work, and then you think you don't really stack up, but it's really not about that, right? It's just about just being proud of what you've done and just talking to people and learning from other people, and that's really how I try to approach competitions. But it really wasn't until after I met you, and then after I started doing these competitions and going to Plamo and everything. That's crazy. It's only been like a year. Yeah, I'm just like looking at the work that I did at the very beginning of the year. I was like, that was really only a year ago? Like, damn. It's been a lot of, yeah, it has gone by quick, and it's been a lot of learning and a lot of growth. So I think in a lot of ways I credit you for that. I credit the Undergated for encouraging me and stuff like that. So
it also depends on how like you start too, because I remember I went to Hobbytown probably back in 2018. And this is back for the people that don't know, I used to collect a lot of Funkos. I used to be big in Funkos and Marvel Legends and action figures and stuff. But I went into Hobbytown probably like 2018, 2019 with my boy Court. And it was like an eye opener because one, I didn't see any Gunpla kits anywhere. And that's kind of how like my journey started back in 2018. I tore my Achilles and I was sitting on a couch and my boy Jimpy, shout out to him, he just had a kid too. Jimpy Zaya on YouTube and then on Instagram. He's another YouTuber that goes out and does toy hunts. But at the time, everything kind of like lines up, right? Like at the time, he was on a little Gundam kick himself. So he was going into like Barnes and Nobles and finding kits. And I was like, oh wow, like I'm getting like I remember these growing up, like Gundam kits. Oh, okay, they go Wing Zero. Oh snap! So I went to Hobbytown, and I'm thinking Hobby Town's like another like train place, right? Like you go in there, you see
Right.
trains and choo choo and all that. And I walked in there and I saw the Gundam kits and it blew my mind. And the guy Marvin, shout out to him, he kind of runs the Newport News Gundam Club here for Hobby Town. He was like, "Yeah, we build every Saturday. We actually have a competition this Saturday." And I went there, and then and that's what opened my eyes to competitions. And I was like, "Man, I want to compete. I want to compete. Like, I want to get my work there." So I think it all depends on like how you start. Like if you start off on Instagram, you might lean more towards I want to post. I want to not compete in that way, right? Like
Right.
compete in the way of I want my page to aesthetically look good. I want my hits to pop out. Like what are these main people that's the EA Gunplas of the world and the Studio G's of the world, their Instagram. I want my look like that. That's their competition. And my competition was the in person first, second, and third. So ever since then, I always had this mindset of every kid I want to do, every kid I want to paint, it has to be competition. It has to be like, can I put this on the table at a competition?
That's interesting. So like modeling for you and competition go hand in hand. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of how you started, which is really interesting. Or at
Right.
least most recently, right? Is that
Yeah.
your first, but that's not your first exposure to Gundam,
Oh no. No,
right?
no, no, no. As a kid, growing up, Gundam Wing, I remember running home to Nami and all that. Gundam Wing was it, man. When I saw Gundam Wing, that blew my mind away. Like like Gundam Wing came out like it caught me right at the time where it needed to catch me, right?
Right.
Because I was coming out as a kid. I was coming out of that phase where like I was done with Power Rangers, right? I was done with um all like the WB TV shows and Fox
Uh-huh.
Kids TV shows, Arthur and all that, right? I was done with that. But I was still too young to really do sports. So I wasn't watching like NFL at the time. And so when Gundam hit when Dragon Ball Z got me, right? And I was like, oh yeah, whatever this is, like at Suit Up intro, that was it. I was hooked. Man, oh man, I was hooked. Like you talk about certain things that I'll never forget. Like we just talked about core memories. I
Mhm.
remember I was hot, man. My mom said all right, she said, let's go. We gotta go get your father. Because my dad was at work. We had one car. And my mom wasn't gonna leave my brother and I at home at that age.
Mhm.
And I remember I was walking out of the house. Endless Waltz was on premiere. And it was on TV. It was like it was
Mhm.
on. I'm walking out of the house. I was mad because I couldn't finish it. And it was the scene where Heroes coming through the tunnel about to go get Wing Zero. And I'm like hoping for a rerun. I'm hoping for a rerun. I remember I closed the door at that scene. I'm like
Oh
knowing
man.
that I won't be able to finish it. And then but yeah, I got the kits. Toys R Us. It was a Christmas where I got the Heavy Arms red box, Endless Waltz version. Growing up, Heavy Arms was my favorite. Something about a lot of missiles.
Yeah.
Something about a lot of missiles was like War Machine is it's probably like my favorite Iron Man ish suit. Other than rather than other than Panzer from Zoids. I was a big Snyder fan. If the orange one, if y'all watch the Zoids with Liger Zero, but anything with a lot of missiles, it was Death Scythe and Heavy Arms was my favorite too growing up. So I got
Yeah.
those and twisted those out, and then it disappeared. Like you couldn't find them anywhere. Toys R Us stopped selling them. They started pushing more of the action figures. The what are those action figures? The damaged looking ones. Where you
Uh
have like the commercial was like Armoros Gundam versus Wing Gundam in the commercial, and battle damage looking ones.
Interesting. I don't know if I remember those.
Yeah, they were like little toys, like little action figure toys. And then I got into football and kind of fell off of it until I remember going into GameStop and I saw the RG Sazabi there when GameStop started selling model kits. I was like, this ain't no Gundam. 'Cause I'm thinking in my mind, like, that ain't Gundam. We got a Gundam logo on it. That's not Wing Zero. And I walked right past it. And I was like, when I was hooked, when I got back into it. and I fell in love with like Gunpla again because of Jimpy. And I fell in love with the Sazabi. And I remember I was like, that GameStop got that. That GameStop got that Sazabi. That GameStop. And I went there and it was like, nah, it's gone. I looked on the GameStop app. It was like clearance $23. I called every GameStop within 100 miles. I was like, yo, I'm going to travel. I'm thinking about. I was thinking about traveling to North Carolina, which was like 100 miles away, to get a $23 kit, thinking I'm saving. Like I would have spent more on gas just so I could get this size and be real great for $23. But yeah, I was hooked, man. Like that's why my backlog was so big. Like I would go to Barnes and Nobles and ask them, hey, can y'all order kits? They was like, yeah, we don't have it here, but the one in Kentucky has it. We could special order, get it sent, send it up here, send it up here. Yep, I want it. I want it all. I got all the Transformer kits, all the that was the full armor RG unicorn. Send it that way. I needed it. So I was hooked.
Just finding it wherever you can get it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that would have been, you said like around 2018?
2018, 2019, yeah.
Yeah. So how did your skills kind of evolve from there? So you were snapping up kits. When did you pick up the airbrush? How did you learn like all the skills that you have today?
Asking questions, man. Asking questions, going through the trials and going through. Want to give a shout out to like Andy. He's an older builder at our hobby town. He gave me a lot of game in the beginning. He's been building since the model kit since the 60s. So asking him about little techniques. CJ, who's also another older builder in there as well. Those two were like the gurus when I got into the building. I mean, if you ever meet Andy today, and I'll go to a competition and I place, he'll tell you every Hobby Town competition. Coop came in here for 2 years and asked me questions on how do you do this and how do you do that. And I didn't know what he was doing. And turned around, he used it and got first place because I would ask him questions like, "Hey, Andy, how do you do a water effect?" And he'll say, "Just do that. How do you do chipping effect? You want a chipping effect? Get you some hairspray. Go get you some Tresemme hairspray that can give you a good chipping effect on your kits. That's what the tank people use, the armored people." And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just jotting all this down, right? And that's what helped me kind of understand the technique of like weathering and panel lining and doing like all of sanding. Cause I remember I've wasted so many kits, man, going back and looking at them by the nubs that are on them. But at the time I'm like, oh, this looks sick. The Eagle unit from Heavy Arms Eagle unit. I had it, snapped it up, built it, went back, looked at pictures of it. Nub mark here, nub mark there. It made me sick. But at the time, I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, this is dope. But then I got on Instagram, started transitioning my Funko page more towards Gundams and building. And I met a guy who was kind of local, Jared, Gunpla University. He has a YouTube. He's not active on it anymore, but he used to be really active on YouTube. And he taught me the color theory. He taught me like the behind priming, behind certain colors, red, pink primer for reds and yellows and oranges. Because I remember I had a Super Saiyan 3 Goku model kit and I primed it with orange. I primed it with gray and sprayed orange over it, right? They do the gi. And it looked terrible. And I'm like, yo, I don't even want to build this anymore. I threw it right back in the box. And I'm like, yo, why is mine like not coming out? And he broke down the color theory to me. And at the time I was as a police officer, so I'll be up late, right? Late at night, talking to him till about like 2, 3 in the morning. And he would tell me like, oh, when you're driving around, look at certain cars. You could look at a car and tell, oh, that blue on that Mazda has black underneath, or that red is darker than the next red. Like you could tell what primer they use. And I started doing that, and I'm like, oh damn, that is a lighter blue. They might have used a white underneath that. underneath that blue rather than the black. Like I could tell the difference in the blues. So that started helping me out with the color theory and then getting with CD and learning other techniques, water slide, better ways to do water slides. That CD will tell you now, I was not doing no. I couldn't stand water slides. I couldn't stand it. And he was like, "Yo, just do this, do X, Y, and Z." And I was like, "All right, you know what? Water slides ain't bad." And I transitioned everything over to water slides. So getting out, asking questions, and it was probably COVID. I ordered my booth and my airbrush kit, and during that time, I would practice on airbrushing, work on airbrushing. See, and that CD was the one that told me about SMS paints, and he was like, "Yeah, they're just spray, pour and go," because I was not mixing. I wasn't mixing. I don't want to. I don't know. Want to know about no ratio. I don't want to know about anything. Let me just. I was like, "Yo, there has to be a paint that you pour in, and
Yeah,
then
it's ready to spray.
ready to go." He was like, "Yeah," and shout out to Mike Bills. Mike Bills, who also is local. He helped me out too when it comes to SMS and learning about other different type of paints, lacquers, enamels, and stuff like that. So he was like, "Yeah, there's this paint called SMS. It's pour as you go. It's sold on USA Gundam, $5." And after that, I bought almost every bottle, and here we are.
That's awesome, man. How would you describe yourself as a builder today? So, like, do you have certain types of kits you gravitate towards? Do you have what you feel like is like a signature style?
I want to be creative, man. Like, I don't see what I want to do is blend toy photography and blend building kits. Not a lot of people do that, right? Like we see people do the museum pose or the hot white. That's when the background's all white and it's just, just the kit itself, right? Like, or whatever deep, infinite background. But we don't see a lot of like scenes. I wanted to be big into diodes. Like that's my passion. So I want you to be able to look at a kit or look at a picture and be like, that's Coop's picture. Like you could tell it from the diorama, from the build itself, and go, okay, that's a Coop build. That's what I would want to gravitate towards. So when it comes to kits though, like if I haven't seen the suit on TV, I'm probably not buying it. Like it's few and far between. Like I didn't finish Wish for Mercury, so but something about the caliber, and I was like, maybe because it gave me that unicorn feel with the all white, the monochrome, like all white, and then the Dari Blade, probably the only two kits that I probably built and painted to where I was like, I haven't seen it, but if it's in my backlog, I've seen it in action. I'm not going to buy like I have one seed kit in my backlog, and it is the Destiny one because Ari got that for me for Christmas like 2 Christmases ago. Her and my dad went into Hobby Town and she just picked a random high grade. And, yeah, and just so I have that one, but I have no seed kits in my backlog. If it's in my backlog, I've seen it in action, and I get the inspiration from the show.
Nice. So you have like a relationship with the kits that you build.
Yeah.
You like it or you've seen it in the anime. That's what helps inspire you to build it. Nice, man.
It's hard for me to believe people don't like the people that like can just look at it and be like, I'm getting that. Like that looks dope. It might be a trash kit. Like that might be a but but that's right. But it might have gotten white clean on the show. Like it might represent the devil for all you know in the show.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, because I'm the complete opposite because I don't have a lot of experience with the anime, but when I see a kit design that speaks to me, I'm like, yeah, I don't care if it showed up for 3 seconds on the screen and then got its head blown off or whatever. Like I'll go ahead and pick it up.
But that's interesting to me though, because like, what about the design what catches your eye on a design? What is like a guaranteed if Bandai does this to a kit, Ricky's probably gonna buy it. Cause I think with like Austin, like if it's big and like that, like for Austin, his is like a big chunky mobile suit, right? Like the
Mhm.
Messer, the Faz, the Double Zeta, like the Titans, all that. And CD is more of like he'll eye it and have something. But for me, I have to see it. So what does
Mhm.
Bandai have to do with you, for you to make you go, oh yeah, I'm buying it. I don't even need it.
Right. All right. Well, to be fair, there are a lot of kits. I'm just staring at my backlog right now and trying to like figure out my patterns here. But I mean, I grew up loving Gundam, but not able to watch the anime, and so a lot of my like Gundam knowledge comes from building kits, but also like just digging into websites like MAHQ for people who remember that back in the day, or like
Mm-hmm.
Gundam Planet, I think was another one where I just would look at the illustrations. I would just read about all the weaponry. I would read about the history and what happened to it in the story. Never really being able to watch the anime. And so a lot of those early like UC anime, I feel like I have a relationship with those, just like the GP03. I never watched 0083, and we'll talk about 0083 in a minute, but um, I just knew like, okay, GPO1, GPO2, GPO3, like those were really cool. And so I would pick up kits like that. Um, and then more recently, I mean, I do have a lot of kits from things that like I don't, that are like after that time. And I think there's just something about like, so I'm looking at like a Stormbringer. I'm looking at a GM Dominance right now. I'm looking at a Lindworm. And so it's in a lot of ways, it's kind of like they're like classic suits, like the gym,
Mm-hmm.
but like with like a cool twist to it. And so maybe that's just something that stands out to me, like, oh, there's like some really awesome weapons this thing has, or it's
Like
got
I have the Stormbringer, and I'm like, just the visor, the GM visor. I'm like, that's what made me get it. That's what made me get it. I was like, it looks like a Gundam, got a GM visor. I could try to freak it, but it's nothing like obscure, right? Like it's not like G-Quacks, right? Like
right. It still
so,
lives in that kind of classic
right.
aesthetic. And so yeah, I think the ones that I gravitate towards are still like very much like grounded in like UC, very like military weapon sort of look. But just are have like some interesting little tweaks and twists that kind of make it fun, you know. So I don't know that, yeah. But sometimes I just see a kit online. I'm like, yep, that looks great. I'm gonna buy that. You know, I don't know how to pronounce it. It doesn't matter. But you're actually the first person to introduce toy photography to me too. So for people who don't know about toy photography or have never seen it, like how would you describe toy photography? It's like not the same as like putting a Gundam in a light box and just taking a picture of it, right? So yeah, like what goes
It's
into that?
e- emotion in figures, emotion in whatever figure that is, and getting it out of your. To me, it's getting it out of your head and into or onto a photo. That's what toy photography. And I want to like shout out to people that don't know. I'm part of his other podcast called the Fighead Podcast. Right. Shout out to them. They really got me into the toy photography scene and like different other photographies, such as not photography, other figures like Mezco, SH Fig Arts, things in that realm. But it's a way where I'm always trying to maximize like my money, right? Like if I buy a kit or I buy a figure, once I buy it and build it, what do I do with it? Right? Like what do you could display it, museum pose, you could keep it in a box. That's what made me kind of transition out of Funko because I would be an inbox collector with Funko. Once I buy it, I'll put it on a shelf and it's just there.
Yeah.
Right? Now it was taking it a step further where I buy this Marvel Legend, I pose it, and then I put it on a shelf. And then, all right, cool, I got a little bit more out of my money than keeping it in the box. And then now what else can I do? All right, I'll get this Ultraman figure, pose it, and maybe take a cool photo with my phone. All right, now I maximize it again, right? Like I got a little squeeze the onion a little bit more to turn up a little bit more, get a little bit more money out of it. So that started getting me into the toy photography realm, where I kind of wanted to get things that I seen like, yo, that'd be dope. Like I wanted at first, I wanted to do like this. I'm a big Netflix Ultraman 2018, not the Netflix Ultraman Rising, but the I'm big into that. It's one of my favorite animes. And I was like, man, it would be dope to have like a multiverse in that. Like, what if I do like Thanos versus Ultraman, right? Like, what if I put uh, Ultraman 7 Moriboshi, who's a swordsman, maybe pair him up with like Trunks, right? Like, who's also a swordsman. Like, let me start getting into that realm. And then I started thinking, like, what if I take these Gundam kits and kind of start making another story? How can I do? I wanted to take a photo of like the master grade Zaku, Char Zaku, holding with his hand out, holding an Infinity Stone. Like, what is this? Right? How can I get that from my head to physical? I have everything. I have a Nathan Drake. I have a little Infinity Stone. I have plants and stuff. So that's what kind of made me kind of dive more into toy photography and also asking questions and lighting and poses and what's real, what's not. That's what made me get with the fake heads like Geeky Fresh, CTG the Collector, a lot of other Cap Lives, a lot of other guys. And it made me ask questions and learn more about posing and what's real and how to maximize like you don't want to just take a picture of a Gundam straight up. You kind of want to like take your phone, flip it upside down, and lean it up because that shows you the scale, right? Like you see a Gundam, you're looking at it from eye view, it don't look menacing, but you flip it, get it from a different angle. Maybe you see the scale of it, and it looks massive now. So
Right.
that's
So all
what
the
got me
little,
into
yeah, the camera angles and the
right.
setting up diodes and like all the color that goes into the photography.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what got kind of me into the toy photography. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm doing diodes. I'm doing toy photography. I could blend it. I could do both. I could maximize both because nobody was doing that. Nobody's doing, not a whole lot of people. I'm not going to say nobody like I'm the only one, but like not a whole lot of people was taking a diode and making a scene and doing a photo of a Gundam that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you might see people, take the RX and put it in a Gundam or not a good Gundam, but like in a toy photography shot. Or you might see somebody do it with the Wing Zero or the Gundam Wing stuff. But I wanted to take it to where it's a model kit and you can see. That's one reason I really stick to 144, like because they're best scaling for toy photography. It's hard to do 1/100 in toy photography, really is. Because
Right.
a
Right.
1/100 diode is massive.
Right. Right. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So connecting that toy photography and the Gundam together is really cool. Like, and I think you just posted a picture of your Tristan or something like that, right? And I thought, man, this is like something that I think I've only seen from Coop, and
Right.
I thought it was awesome. Yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
we're ready to jump in this build if you want to talk about our
Oh yeah, let's do
GP03.
it.
So
Let's do it.
Well, this is the GP03. It comes from 0083, the series. What's your relationship to Stardust Memory? What's your relationship to 0083?
Top 5. It's a top 5 show for me. 0083 is amazing because if you just the story, people don't like the storyline and stuff like that. But if you just look at for what it is, it's like somebody hand draw that. Like so much, like it felt like it was like the peak of right before it started to transition into like the new stuff. Even though it's a little bit older, right? I think it came out 89, 90, something like that. And I remember before, because my boy Court was like, yo, you don't remember watching Stardust Memories on Cartoon Network? And I was like, nah. But I was going to, this was probably about like 2015, 2016. I used to be heavy into comic books, right? Heavy. Like anything I'm in, I'm going to be heavy in. I was heavy in the Funkos, heavy in the Gunpla. I was heavy into comic books. That was like my first true collecting was comic books. I used to go to this comic book store called Heroes and Villains in Hampton, Virginia, and it's the comic book owner, the store owner, was like, "Oh yeah, everything in that bin is like 10 cent books." And I was flipping through them, and I found the Viz comic books of Stardust Memories. Somebody like turned them in, and I was like, "Oh, this is Gundam. Like this is tough." And I'm flipping through, and I'm like, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Like, this is the whole set. Like he was like, "Yeah, $1.50. That's $1.50 for all the easy." So I took it and I started reading it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is good." So that was like my first like inclination of Stardust Memories was those Viz Image comic books. I still have them, and I got with Austin. Austin was like, "Oh yeah, Stardust Memories, nothing but a reversion of Top Gun." And I was like, "Well, I didn't see Top Gun at the time." I was like, "All right, let me go watch Stardust Memories," and I watched it, and it had the 80s. I'm a big 80s music guy, synthwave. I can listen to synthwave every single day. And it, that music, the Gundams, the movement of the Gundams, it was still traditional, nothing fancy. The cockpit still looks dope. Like none of that Saikamu cockpit, the universal,
Where it's like
cockpit.
you just see the screen, it's all transparent or whatever.
Yeah, all transparent. It was just flat out. And I started watching and watching. I'm like, man, the music, the score, the intensity behind everything, you could really feel it. So I couldn't find anything other than the real grade when it came to like a good kit. So last year at Plamo, when I saw the GP03, shout out to Chris, he had it there, and I, got it off of him. I was like, "Yo, I gotta get this. I'm walking away with this. I'm walking away with this GP03." But I think out of the three, the full burner is my favorite. The
Sure.
full burner is my favorite. But I don't know. This one's a pretty dope one. Oh,
yeah.
I don't like 2. I do not like the second one. GP02s.
That's not for you?
No.
Man.
The big
Okay,
shields,
all right.
the big, the legs
proportions.
and all that. No. Yeah, that's not for me. But GP01, full burner, and GP03, even GP04 is okay too. And I almost got the metal figure, or no, the robot spirit figure of the GP0, the Blossom, which was like the prototype. So,
man, yeah. So I've got the GP03. I picked that up online when they reissued it recently, around the same time you got yours, but I've been sitting on like my Solomon GP02, and my Grail kit is the perfect grade GP01. So, and we're still waiting on that to be reissued, and I'm not going to pay the markup on that, But I was kind of trying to collect all the 0083 kits, and actually this GP03 for me, because I was snap building when I was in middle school, so this is an early 2000s master grade. Is probably like one of the first, I don't know, dozen master grades that came out. But I remember when it dropped, and I remember wanting it, but never getting it back when I was a kid. And so when it reissued more recently, I was like, let's give it a shot. But as I think we're going to learn, these early master grades are not built the same.
No. Just so intense high grades, man.
Yeah, and I remember too, like I figured out for myself at 12 years old, when I'm at the model shop, if I'm going to buy a model, the better models are the ones with a little date on the bottom that's more recent. So like if you're going to buy a model from like 1989, it's going to turn out way worse than a model from like 2004 or 2006 or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think that's still true for the most part, right? A 2020 model is going to be engineered totally differently than a model like the GP03 from 2004, but it was still like a really fun experience.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you could with the that vintage feel made it made the build feel, I want to say, like more authentic. if that makes sense. Like it made it feel like you are a modeler. Like
Mm.
sometimes you get these newer builds, these newer kits. They're so simple and easy. It starts to feel like a Lego set, right? Like it starts to feel like okay, you can't go wrong. Like you
Mm.
can't go wrong because of the engineering and everything. And you look at this and you look at the manual and you look at the pieces and you start going like, okay, this is this nut mark here. This one really needs to get sanded. Like there's no undergate on this at all. So it started making me feel like a real, like I was really pushing towards that. I'm a modeler, not a builder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Because like I mean, these newer kits these days, they're so good. You snap build them from the instructions, and it already looks pretty awesome. You're like
Right,
80% of the way there, 90% of the way there. But these
right.
older kits, man, like looking through them with today's eyes, it's like, okay, this is gonna take some work to
This
get
is
to
rough.
like,
You
yeah,
open it up and is this a PC? What? I haven't
right,
seen a PC running in God knows how long. Oh man, like that threw me off. I'm like, sheesh. But
yeah,
you get that good modeler and feel out of it, especially when you put the work into it.
yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about that work then.
Yeah.
So you and I decided we wanted to do this buddy build, but I think we had different approaches and different focuses for how we wanted to
Hmm.
what we wanted to do with our kits. So for you, what were some of the focus areas when you were thinking about your GP03?
I wanted to work on something that I want to start doing more on my painted builds, which was shading, right? Older kit, I wanted that vintage type feel to it without it weathering. And shout out to Hoskin House, who's a local here, but big in the shading on his kits. And you see his work, and you be like, oh yeah, that's Hoskins. But he kind of taught me, like I shaded a kit, and it was a Moon Gundam. That was like my first shaded kit, and it wasn't subtle, and I wanted it to be subtle. And I was working on a kit before Master Grade shit. It was the Exia, and it was overwhelming because of the pieces. I was like, man, this is overwhelming. I got, you can ask CD, I got like almost 60% done. I put it in a tackle box and put it away. I was like, I'll come back to it. And just never came back to it.
Right.
And then I saw this. I opened a box. I'm like, okay, this isn't as bad, right? It's not crazy amount of parts to do what I gotta do. It's enough white to where I can knock it out. I'm a little bit more advanced now since that Exia, so I'm gonna shade this one and try to give it that vintage look and feel by the shade look.
Yeah. And for me, um, I wanted it to be a test of, well, a couple things. So I had just picked up a whole set of scribing tools, like all the chisels. I like invested a ton of money into a bunch of different sizes, and I'm like, this is going to be my chance to like really push that. So other than this kit, I had maybe done like a little bit of like rescribing or just some little tiny modifications here and there on some other builds. And it's okay if I make mistakes. Like I'm gonna try to do my best, but I, you have a kit that's like super nice, super expensive or whatever. Like you scratch it all up with your scribing tools, it feels kind of bad, But this one, I was like, all right, I like this kit a lot, but like I'm not gonna cry about it if things don't go quite perfectly. And so this is like a good
Right.
opportunity for me to do some scribing. And for me, like I think 1/100 is a good scale for scribing because like it's big enough where you're not having to be like so precise. And
Mm-hmm.
144 scribing is tough because it's like so small, and it's like really easy to slip or make mistakes, or you
Get a
accidentally
gentle
draw the
hand.
line. Exactly. And so this one was good, and it's like very flat, right? This kit's got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of flat surfaces on it that I thought, okay, there's actually a lot of good opportunity here for scribing. And then as I was building it and as we were going along, like there's a lot of big seams. Like the seam lines are all over the place, and some of them are on purpose. like you see on the side of the kits, like you've got these huge black bands that go up and down like the leg and like along the
Right.
side of the head, and those are cool. But then there's also a lot of seam lines that you don't want, like you look at the rear thrusters, like those are just two pieces that like come together like right up down the middle, and so these older engineered kits, they didn't care as much about that kind of thing. These days they're pretty good about hiding them, like designing them in
Giving
a
them a
way where you
purpose.
exactly. And so I thought, okay, this is my chance to really try to do a lot of prep and a lot of seam line removal in that way too. And again, like not everything is going to turn out perfect, but at least this gives me a little bit more practice for that, right? I wonder if we can take a look at some pictures actually,
Yeah,
and
let's
then you
do it.
can talk a little bit about your shading process, and then I can share a little bit about kind of my approach too. All right. So you were quick, man. You like I think I was still wrapping up something else, and you were like, "Man, I'm gonna get started on this thing." And like the next thing I know, like you pretty much had it all snapped up. So this is like one of the first pictures you sent me. I'm like, "Damn, I'm still like getting rid of nubs and stuff." Coop, you're already like you got your whole lower body assembled. So yeah, talk to me about what you're doing with the shading here.
Gotcha. So this is like the half of the lower half of the body, right? So you could tell that like on a kneecap area that you can see like a blue undertone. Certain kits I like to see that blue undertone with like the Exia. I like seeing a blue on undertone. GP03. Not so if it's mainly blue, if the suit is mainly blue, not a whole lot of like the red and the yellow in it. This doesn't have a whole lot of red and yellow. Well, red and what just in the yellow, just in the chest area, right?
Right,
So if
right.
it's mainly blue and white, I like to see that blue kind of undertone. So what I did was I primed it in white, all the pieces in white, and then I went through like the areas around the piece, uh, deep areas like the openings right there for the vents on the kneecaps and then on the calf and stuff with blue, um, a light blue. I think it's SMS light blue, and then went back over it with white. Talked to Austin and City about like the shading parts, like just do this and do that when it's start in the middle. So I did primer white, SMS blue, not light blue, SMS blue around the areas. Um and then did aggressor white gray and with the shading and then misted it with splash white. I think it's splash. You told me about splash. So the splash, like I think I don't know if it's called
Was it
cool
Mecha
white.
White
Just the
or a different
no, it's
white?
not the mecha white. It's the bright white. Whatever the bright white they have. Or, it's not white. It's not just white. It's like bright white. It might just be called bright white.
Okay.
Um, and I sprayed it, kind of misted it off with that to blend everything together, and they gave me that shading. So the recess areas with blue and the panels with blue. Didn't go in like the middle of the piece with blue. Just kept that still primer white, and then hit it with the aggressor white gray, and then splash super white or bright white they have.
Mhm.
With the blue, I primed it in. I primed that also in white. Did Exignia Exignia blue on the recess and like the outer
Like this,
area,
like this right here. I
right, like
see.
that right
Yeah.
there, and then hit it with Kaleido. Is that the brand? Kaleido Gallery's brand, right?
Yeah.
Kaleido Cobalt Blue I got from CD. And because I can't find a good Cobalt Blue anywhere, I've been searching far and far and far for Cobalt Blue. And CD was like, yo, I want to bring this to you. Or did you, was it you? Was it,
I think I gave it to him to test, and then he passed it along to you. So
oh, okay, gotcha. And
yeah.
I love it. I love it. It was a good finish. And so I was like, oh yeah, I like it. So did that with the blue and then with the red, I went, which you can see on the lower, right there. I just did regular SMS red on the ankles, and then if you open it, you can't see it on that picture, but if you open the
Mhm.
thruster, it it does this. It has like gold on the tips, and then red that goes into it on the pipes. So
Gotcha.
gold and red pistons.
Yeah.
But the red that's on like the chest is insignia red outside, and then SMS Italian red. They give it that pop.
Yeah. When we were talking to Austin for the pod and he was going through his whole shading process, it's like, man, it really makes painting 3 to 4 times longer.
Yeah.
Right? Just because you've got so many different layers of color and you got to be real gentle with it, and every piece has to kind of
If
be
you
painted on
scheme
its
it
own,
right,
right?
well, if you scheme it right, you should be able to like knock out a decent amount of pieces. Like I would use like the blue that I used on the like the body and stuff because I did some of that with SMS blue too. I'll be like, all right, I want to do the white pieces. I want to prime everything that needs to be priming white, and then I will do insignia blue on the blue pieces. Clean out the gun, let everything dry, and then the white pieces they're dried, right? Let the blue piece dry, and then go back in there with SMS blue. But I will almost fill my gun up with SMS blue because then I'll be like, all right, I can hit all the white pieces, the recess areas and the areas that are poking out that's going to be shaded blue, and then I could go over top of the blue insignia. So I could like if you scheme it right, it could work. Right, it's not a whole lot. It's it becomes a whole lot if you're not planning it right. Like if you're like, I want to do the feet and I want to knock out these 3 layers, and then I want to knock out these layers and these layers. That's when it becomes like a whole lot.
Got it. So you're kind of planning out like which colors you're gonna do next, so that you're minimizing the number of times you got to like wash out your airbrush, and
Right,
you're like thinking about drying time and all that kind of stuff too. That's really helpful.
right,
Yeah. Let's see what this other picture is. So yeah, you and I had the same idea when we saw these big with these tail pieces or whatever
right.
to add some
Binders.
color separation. Right. Yeah. So
I want.
what have you got going on here?
I have it like it's just white, and then it's what was it? Was it basalt gray? And then I went over it with ghost gray, just to give it that more of a shading effect to it. I wanted to do something different, but I think that's the only really thing you could kind of do unless you change the whole color aspect of the kit itself. With these 2 pieces, I feel like that's the only thing you can do with those pieces. Like that's why I feel like we were the same thinking, right? Like
Right.
the gray in that area. Because if you make it any other color, I feel like it just throws the kit off. Like if you make it like gunmetal or make it black, it just throws it off. So,
Hmm.
and I wanted to make sure it was light enough to where, because I knew the decals I have for it were gray decals because it's supposed to go over a white piece. So I was like, I can't go too dark or I want to lose the decal. So I want to
Right.
lighten it up with this ghost gray. So ghost gray by SMS is a really good kind of like a neutral gray.
Yeah, you're better than me about that decal stuff, because like sometimes I'll pick a color and I'll realize, oh, this is gonna wash all my decals out. I don't even think about that or look at that until
Can't
it's
do
too
it.
late.
Especially if it's like a specific decal, right? Like the decal there says dendrobium. So it's kind of like, I can't use this for anything else.
Right.
So it's
Let me
going
see
to
if I get a
really, it's
yeah,
really
get a better
right.
shot of
So
that.
I can't really use it for anything else. So it's not like I could put it on a wing zero. So I had to make sure that stood out. So I made sure that I went with a lighter gray on that. And that's Delpy. Delpy decal with
Yeah, I
that.
think that's the only brand of decal for this particular kit
Mhm.
that they make a specific set. Like I'm a big fan of the G rework decals, but they don't make a GP03 set. So,
Right.
but
Which is kind of odd. You would think.
Yeah.
But some of the other decals I did get from Austin, like that '03 that's on the bazooka, I did get from him. I think that came off a Bandai set, which, my God, those are terrible decals. The Bandai decals are terrible decals.
Well, what about them? What is it
I
about them
mean,
that you're not into?
I soaked them. It's almost like you have to soak them like you like soaking a person, like put some salt in it or something, because it was not lifting off that paper. I mean, it was sitting in water for about warm water for about 4 or 5 minutes. And Austin's like, just get your tweezer and just slide up under it. Maybe get your straight edge. I'm like, I done peeled it off, ripped off the O and the 3. I'm like, golly, forget it, man. Like Bandai should feel ashamed making decals like that.
Yeah, they
Mm.
take forever to come off the paper, and they're like pretty thick too. That's at least my experience. Yeah, I mean, so here's some of the finished photos. So like you did your painting process, you did your decals. What kind of top coat do you have going on?
Top coat. So it went gloss, decal, gloss, and then finished it off with Mr. Smooth Flat. Mr. Smooth Flat on the body, on the guns. I went gloss, decal, gloss, and I think I kept it that way for like the brighter areas.
Yeah, I can see that's not flat like these
No,
lighter bazooka
right.
parts. Do you usually do a second clear top coat or gloss top
I
coat?
do. I do. Yeah, that's what it was. That's how I was taught. Um, I was taught by Mike Bills. You gloss the piece, decal, gloss it again. So, and then you top coat with a flat or a matte, just so that it doesn't give you that rugged. And the more that you hit it with gloss, like if you gloss, decal, gloss, wait, gloss again, you start losing more of the edges of the decal. So when you hit it with a matte, you don't see it.
Hmm.
So I've
Gotcha.
I've noticed that on I forgot the guy's name, but he did a Zeta bust and he brought it to ODO maybe like 3 years ago, 3, 4 years ago. And it looked like the damn decals were on the piece. Like I couldn't find no borders. I couldn't find a single border on it. And I'm like, and he said, yeah, he just glossed it until the decals disappeared, until the borders disappeared. And I was like, I want to try it out. Oh,
Yeah, it came out really smooth. I mean, you look at this picture, like you can't see any of the raised areas or anything like that.
try man.
This kit comes with dry transfers. Did you use those?
No,
Yeah, me
no.
neither. I think I think I managed to get one dry transfer off the dry transfer paper. There were a couple that I wanted to use, but they just would not come off right. And so
Which is
I had to scrap it.
which is kind of crazy to me because Bandai doesn't do dry transfers on kits anymore. So when they do a restock or a reissue, they're doing a dry transfer reissue where they could just go with decals. Like
Hmm.
if we threw out the machine that does dry transfers, how are we still getting reissues on dry transfer? Like
Right.
you telling me when this kit comes out in 2030 again, it's gonna have dry transfers in the box? Like that's like that. Do y'all just have a stock of dry transfers in the back? Like where are we getting this dry
Yeah.
transfer from when everything is water slides or at least stickers?
I mean,
It's crazy.
I bet you they just have a dusty old dry transfer machine somewhere in the factory and they just like, take the
Just
cover
click
off of it and yeah. But
and just
they're
click print.
terrible.
Yeah.
And I used the dry transfers growing up too as a kid, right? Like from the kits of the same era. And I just remember would cut the dry transfer out on the plastic, stick it where I want, and then I would just use my nail and just scratch at it. And you can almost kind of tell when the dry transfer was on the piece and not on the paper anymore.
Mhm.
And it wasn't too bad. And this was me at like 12 years old. And so I thought, This is dry transfer is like no problem. I could do that. I got like some burnishing tools or whatever that I can use to like really like make sure that it sticks on there. And I just damn near like was working at it for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then I would go to peel it, and then the whole thing just would come off. Like none of it was on the kit at all. And I was like, well,
That was so intimidating. Getting into this hobby was dry transfers. I remember somebody told me, "Oh yeah, just tape the dry transfer down and use a eraser." And I'm like, "What?
an
I'm about to
eraser.
tape nothing down that and you no." None of this, no. I just won't use it. That's just it's just I'm not taping nothing down on no piece. Get some scotch tape, lay it down, and get an eraser and just kind of like go over. You'll be able to tell. You got to do all of that. I'd rather just get the water slide.
Right.
So I would
And then
not use a dry transfer.
right, right. You and I earlier talked about the bazooka, and we kind of approached it in a similar way. So, you want to talk to people about that? When you first get the bazooka, it's just all one gray color,
That
right?
grayish blue color. Like, and shout out to CD. He told me a technique. I learned a lot from just talking to your boys. Like one technique that I used on this kit was the paper towel technique of water slide. So I have the water slide tray, right, that you get from like Hobbytown. And I would before just let the decal sit in there, right? Let it soak. And then CD told me like a couple of months ago, he was like, "Yeah, I just, you could just do." I saw some ad on Instagram, and I was like, "Yo, I'm about to get this." Like, did you see this? Like, it was a water slide tray. He was like, "Yo, you could just put like a paper towel in your tray, and it does the same thing, or a sponge." And I was like, "Oh, damn, I didn't even think about it." So I was at work one day when I took this to work, and in between calls at work and clients at work, I was like, "All right, let me decal." And I grabbed a paper towel and I just folded it up the sides of the tray, like wet it, put it in the tray, and just set decals on it, and it smooth, came off quick and easy. So I'm like, shit, this is simple. I'm doing this for all my decals now. So that technique I did on all the decals, and but with this technique going back to the bazooka, I hate masking. I hate it because I don't do it often. So I don't want to say I hate it. Um, I don't do it enough. It's my weak link when it comes to my builds, right?
Mm.
Is masking. And people like you, Austin, are really good with guns. Guns for me will never get built. No, your guns are good.
No,
Your
no, no.
guns are
I'm more like in your camp, man. I my guns are an afterthought most of the time, for
they're
real.
afterthought, but when you do them, they are good. Like back in the day, I'll airbrush the whole kit, and then the gun will get rattle can gunmetal. That would be it, man. Like
Right.
Like that would be it. So I wanted to do something like, all right, let me push myself. I masked off the area, and I remember CD said, "Hey, get you a fresh blade on your straight edge, flip the straight edge backwards, and kind of like cut out and peel away the areas that kind of like almost like you're doing a decal." So I was like, all right, I masked it up, and I slightly went over it so I'm not scratching anything. And I'm like, oh damn, perfectly masked. And I
Mhm.
was like, it was like 1 in the morning. I was like, oh, I might as well just keep going. So I masked everything and hit it with certain areas of chrome. You can't tell by this picture, but
Oh no,
that
I
like
can
right
like
in the
this is
middle
chrome
section
right
is
here.
chrome.
Yeah.
Yep. The UNT gray that you told me about, splash UNT gray, is a perfect gray. You were right. Like you were like Austin, before I told Austin, I was like, yeah, I ordered, Ricky told me about UNT Gray from Splash. I ordered UNT Gray. And Austin was like, oh, yeah, UNT Gray. It's kind of like gunmetal, but because it has the speckles in it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
speckles? Like, what are you talking about? It's gray. And I'm thinking in my mind from the conversation, like, Ricky said everything is flat. So it shouldn't be not from from
Oh.
Splash. So it shouldn't be no like speckles in it because it will make it look glossy. So I got it and I'm like, oh, this is kind of like it's almost like a wait and react. Like you spray it and I sprayed the UNT gray for the first time and I was like, it's not what I thought it was going to be. Then I let it dry and settle, and I came back to it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to be. This is so. I don't know if it because it was like the piece was still wet and it didn't dry all the way through, and I'm like, all right, I don't know about this one, Rick. This kind of look like gunmetal. Like
Right.
this this looks like gunmetal. And then once it dried, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, now it looks like a frame because you was like
It's
it's a
like a
perfect
perfect
color
in
for me.
between, right? It's like
Right.
not a metallic, but it's also not flat. And you can see like the metal specks at the bottom of the bottle.
Hmm.
I think Mr. Hobby has a UNT gray that maybe is
Yeah.
like the inspiration there. And same thing. I thought, oh, this is like a Phantom gray. And then you spray it for the first time and you're like, oh wait, it's like actually like kind of semi-metallic. But it's not so metallic, right? Where it looks like a
Right.
gun, like a gunmetal or
Because
whatever.
gunmetal, you spray something gunmetal, you're like, oh yeah, this is depending on the metallic flakes. It's like this is too much. Like
Hmm.
it's like I don't even know what you'll use gunmetal for. So but the UNC gray, chrome, and I want to say basalt gray on a bazooka
Yeah.
because I
Nice,
didn't
man.
want to do white because I knew you was doing white, and
Oh,
I was like,
you
I
could have
didn't
done
want to
it.
like.
Yeah.
I know, man. I know, but I didn't want to do it because of that one reason. I was like, I don't want to do it. Um, I'm gonna try to change it up and be a little different. And then I was like, all right, I'll go with that. And then hit you up about like the folding bazooka part. Like, where do you mount this damn thing? I'm seeing all these pictures.
Yeah.
It could be mounted. You was like, oh, it's still on the alligator clip. And I was like, did I miss a piece? I'm going through all my. He was like, you said something. You was like, oh yeah, it's I had it on the alligator clip. I was like, huh? I'm flipping through the manual. What did he have on the alligator clip? Like, was it D13? I'm looking all over the place for this. You was like, oh no, just fold it and put it in the little clamp arms. I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that's what he meant. I was like, shit.
Yeah, this kit is
I'm gonna
cool
look
because
it
it
up.
has those extendable arms. Like you fold the elbow back, and
Right.
then this whole arm comes out. Yeah. Um, and then you kind of stuck with the OG color scheme,
Yeah.
which is kind of your. I think it's kind of your style too, right?
Right. I don't do a whole lot of unless it's something like truly inspirational. I see like I have something I'm working on in the back end. It's like, oh yeah, I want to do that. That reminds me of this, so I'm gonna change the color. But I really don't change a whole lot of colors.
Right.
I'll do it with
Yeah, but
like certain kits, like that third party kit that I did that's purple and black. That's on my page. That's blue and gold, like a almost like a banshee blue and gold. But I've never seen that in a show, so I don't know what color it's supposed to really be. So I painted in my color. But
yeah,
when it comes to like a Gundam, it's most likely going to get the OG color scheme with me.
yeah, man. I think it turned out awesome. And like, there's actually it's an older kit, but there's actually some really cool features in the kit that we talked about a little bit. So like,
Mhm.
what are some of your favorite things about this kit?
I, I enjoy like the Stardust memory aspect of this kit. Like I enjoy like the kneecaps and doing the putting enamel paint into the knees, right? The little red stripe. I do like the
Yeah,
thrusters and the backpack and stuff. The fact that like what messed me up though was what made me stall a little bit was I don't think this might have been my first kit that I've built that had a core fighter. And what threw me off was I thought you had to paint the core fighter, like build the core fighter to put it together. So I was like, that's what made me stall because I was like, man, I'm not in the mood to build no core fighter. I hate transforming kits. Like, I want to scratch up something. And he was like, no, no, you could just build it. Like step 43 is the rest of the body. And that's what made me go, oh shit. And that's what made me delay. Once I thought you was like, yeah, I'm working on a core fighter. I'm like, you got to build a core fighter for this thing? Oh no, that right there took all the wind out of myself for like 2 weeks. I didn't want to see that kit for like 2 weeks, knowing they got a core fighter in it. But you was like, oh no, just steps at like step 35 and there's no core fighter. You just put. I'm like, well, shit. Um, so
Yeah.
the everything that makes it the GPO3 I enjoy. Everything that makes it Stardust. So the backpack, the binders on the side, the kneecaps, making it feel like I'm building a Stardust memory kit was fun for me.
Right.
If that makes
That's
sense.
yeah. They have like that iconic style, signature style from that
Right.
anime.
Right. It didn't feel like I was building an RX-78 that's like a modification. Like it didn't feel like you might feel if you build like a G3, right? Like
Mhm.
or like damn, this is a C kit, but it kind of it feels more like a XE or it looks like if like this GPO3 felt like Stardust Memory, and I enjoyed that. And then going through and watching Stardust Memories as I'm building it was a blast as well.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's one of those interesting things about this kit. You were talking about the core fighter, and like this is a good picture because like when you're assembling it, the bottom half of the torso just looks like this. This is like a hollowed out
Right,
like waist area, and you could put the core fighter in there if you want. And I can see in the picture you've got the top half of the body right here too.
right. I was rolling,
Um,
Jack.
right, yeah, but then you could put the finished core fighter in here, and you can fold it up and but the kit also comes with like a secondary thing that you could insert that's not a core fighter, but then you can have the core
It's like
fighter on the
an
side or
already
whatever.
transformed core block
Right,
that you can put.
exactly.
What threw me off too was I'm watching a show to introduce the GPO3, and one of the lines from it, the dude Cole, who's the main character, he was like, "Whoa, this doesn't have a core fighter." And then you was like, "Yeah, I had to build the core fighter." I'm like, "Yo, wait a minute." He just said in the show, "This does not have a core fighter." Why am I building a core fighter, yo? That shit, I was blown because I did not want to transform no core fighter, and I'm like stoked because in the show he said there's no core fighter. I'm like, all right, cool, bet no core fighter, great. And you're like, oh yeah, you gotta build the core fighter. I'm on the core fighter right now. Like, wait a minute, what core fighter? And this kid,
Did you build it? Did you build the core fighter or no?
no, I didn't. I didn't. I'm giving the pieces to Austin because Austin was like, he loved the way the core because he looked at your core fighter. He was like, yeah, that's a sick. I'll get the kit. You can have my core fighter, dog. You can have it.
There you go.
So
That's
did not
awesome,
build.
man. So yeah, like I mentioned before, um, for my one of my big focuses for this kit was really working on my scribing technique. Um, and there were just a lot of things about the kit that I felt like really needed some touching up, you know.
Mhm.
So you're looking at like a lot of the tooling, like a lot of these lines and stuff, they're really soft, right? Like these edges.
Yeah.
Um, and it's kind of like that all over the kit. Um, man, like I was sending you pictures of stuff like this, like, you know, you've got these
Right.
like mold lines or whatever you want to call them. And this was my one of my favorite things. Like in the diagrams in the pictures in the manual, there's a seam line here, and you
Mhm.
just kind of make it out in the picture, but it's not it, in the actual piece. Like you can't see it at all. And so I thought, man, okay, well, this is like going to be a good opportunity for me to sort of practice my seam line or my scribing work and really trying to clean everything up. So I mean,
You
there are not very many pieces, right, for an MG, but a lot of the pieces I felt like I just wanted to touch up
have
and
you
just kind of
scribed on
practice
this
my
scale
scribing.
before?
Mm-mm. I mean, I'll do rescribing on a lot of like my car kits because they
Yeah.
call for that, but it's usually just like the outsides of windows and stuff. Um, I've never had to do scribing like kind of at this level. So, but I was like up for it. This was kind of like my hope for this build, um, and I was kind of trying to look for some inspiration for how I wanted to approach the scribing, and I found pictures of the GP03 in the video game Battle Operation 2. And when I saw these images, I thought, okay, this is kind of like the direction that I want to take my build. And so like the kind of grayish color scheme was I thought was really cool. It's a little too desaturated for me in the pictures, like the colors. So
Hmm.
I knew I wanted the blues and reds to just pop a little bit more, but I thought that gray tone was pretty cool. And then actually like the picture, this suit in the game has scribing lines in it
I
that are not
see.
on the kit. And I didn't do them all, but there were a couple that stood out to me. So like this right here on the skirt,
Hmm.
um, there is a faint line that cuts across here at the waist.
Hmm.
If you see that, and then on the binder in the tail, you've got a scribe line here, scribe line here, and then this line right here on the shin.
Yeah, that's
And,
definitely,
and
yeah.
though,
I'm looking at it now.
yeah,
Yeah.
and those are the ones that I thought, okay, I'm going to really focus on those as like new scribing lines. And then I'm going to just try to rescribe everything else to just make sure that everything is nice and sharp. And oh, and the other thing that I was talking to you about before I started building, um, these like vent areas that are all over the kit.
Right.
And they're just, these shoulder pieces here are just like one big white piece. And can see in like the images in the box and like this picture that there's like
Hmm.
some dark, that's like vented. It's like a vented dark area here.
You would think that there's a piece of frame that goes behind the white piece if you look at the pictures on the box.
Exactly. And I think if they built it in 2020 or in 2026, like that's how it would look. But
Right.
so I wanted to try to do something about that there too. And there's like a bunch of these like on the skirt, on the shoulders,
Hmm.
and on the feet too.
The only thing
That I
they gave
wanted.
it to you for was the kind of like the side skirt, which kind of odd. Like
Right,
it
these
gave
right
you
here,
the
right?
right. It gave you could change the color up on those, but the other ones you couldn't. So that was kind of odd.
Yeah.
So what did
Yeah,
you scribe
100%.
with? Like what was the was it 0.15?
Um, I think I was going between a point 0.2 and a 0.15, just depending on the line and what I felt it needed. So like here's me just scribing off that angle here on the knee
Yeah.
and trying to line it up so I can bring that line back. So like here it is without, and then in front you can see that there it is with. And not it's just one bend. It's not very hard, and you have like this line right here to try to match it up, and then you've got the edge right here to try to match it up too. Um, this piece was weird. Like this is the crotch, groin, whatever piece,
Right.
and it had like a line right here that you saw in this kit. Like this part is recessed here in the front, and maybe
Yeah.
it looks like that for you too. But like up here, it's just a crease, like on the sides.
Mm.
So first I rescribed that edge, and then I took a bigger scribing tool and I went in and I cut into the sides to get that looking the way that it does in like all the images. Yeah. So I just found the scribing tool that matched the front and then just ran it up along the side to get it. Anyway, um, and then the last thing I wanted to note on with the scribing um, were these like shoulder areas. And I got
Mhm.
to give a shout out to Hanjapla. He was really helping me out with a lot of the scribing stuff, giving me tips and tricks and helping me think about how to approach this. So um, the first thing I did, I just rescribed the U,
Mhm.
and this was nice because I didn't have to use a lot of tape or anything. Like I just had to be really careful, be really light about it, and just kind of follow the crease or follow the bend.
Right.
And I started by scribing this U out. And then I just really carefully laid a piece of tape across the top and then just scribed another line to connect it around.
Where did you lay the tape? Did you lay the tape going towards the wide side, or did you lay the tape inside of the U?
So I laid it on the wide flat surface right
Mm.
here.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I knew, like, given the way the shape is, like, it's hard to put a piece of tape down. And
Right, right, right.
yeah, so I kind of got it just right up on the edge, but not touching. Um, just to kind
Right,
of
I
give it a
see it.
little bit of like a 3D sort of effect too, you know?
Mhm.
So, and then I just kind of made a square out of it. And then after that, I'll go to another picture. I used a chisel, hit it really carefully across the middle.
Mhm.
And then I took a heavier chisel at an angle and scribed a line in to kind of make it look like a little bit of a recess.
For the people that's learning to scribe, like myself, what's the difference between the tool that you use to scribe out the outside? Is that a broche, right? Versus the chisel. Like the chisel, when do you use those two different tools?
Hmm. Um, so I'm like a newbie at this too. I'm not an expert, but I think I've seen chisel and broach being used interchangeably.
Mm.
So when you have, let me grab one. So this is like my set, and all of mine look like this, right? It's like a kind of
Mhm.
trapezoid, kind of comes at an angle. So I've heard people call this a chisel. I've heard people call this a broach. But I know that there are other kinds that other brands sell or whatever that look like a hook at the end, and then you're
Mhm.
really pulling at the plastic. Um, I don't know. I couldn't tell you like why you would use one and not the other.
Okay.
But for me, all of the work I did was through chisels that look like this.
Okay.
Um, and I'm just like laying down the tape, and I'm just like gently pulling right at an angle, um, using the sharp edge, and then eventually kind of getting all the material out of there. So this picture's not super clean, but
But it
yeah,
just
it just
got there.
gave
I see what you're saying.
right. Um, so yeah, I mean, all of this stuff, like there's like more scribing lines that I did like on the
That's
binders.
clean. God,
Yeah, that
dog.
it was hard getting it matched up exactly right. Um, to make sure that those lines are the same, like on both
Right.
sides. Like the symmetry of it was challenging, but I'm using the tape to help me, right? So I got this like Display tape, and it's got little markings on it, and the markings are there to help you kind of work out
I
lengths and
got you.
distances and things like that, right?
Right.
So I had like two different sizes. I think this is like 1 millimeter wide tape and then 2 millimeter wide tape. And so I'm like using the markings to help me figure out, okay, this is the angle that I need the V to be at, or like, where
Right.
the bends are and stuff. And it just
So
kind of took
with
some
the
trial and error.
cursor, for the people that's watching on YouTube, with the cursor, show it like use that as your broach or your
hmm
chisel. So what would you do first?
Well, for this one,
Is
so
it
what I wanted was this like U shape right here, right?
right?
So I started with that. I got the tape down where I wanted it, and then I would just really gently draw the chisel down this way, get to the edge, bring it across, get to the edge, and then bring it up. And then
How many
after
pass
that,
throughs?
oh man, I don't know. I kind of just went by feel.
Yeah.
Um, but probably like somewhere between 7 and 15 passes, depending on like how hard I'm pushing it and
Mm-hmm.
um, stuff like that. And then after that, then I can just pick up these two pieces of tape
Mm-hmm.
and then find the end of where I scribed here and then just draw the line across using the horizontal tape
Mm.
like that. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm mostly happy with how it turned out. Um, like decent. It's not like sometimes you round the edges off and
Hmm.
these turned out like okay. And they're like pretty symmetrical. If you look really closely, you can tell like, the angle's like a little bit different or like the placement is a little bit different. But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So,
And is that deep enough for like panel line ink to get in and make a big difference?
oh, that's 100% kind of the goal. Yeah.
Hmm.
So when we're scribing, we want to scribe it deep enough and make sure that it's smooth enough that the panel liner can flow through. So yeah, the goal is to panel line all of those scribed areas. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of little sections like that I tried to do, and really that was like the majority of the work. Um, for me, it was like half the time. So like your paint was like pretty much done, and I'm still sitting here like scratching away at like all all the plastic. um,
Yeesh.
but yeah, then we go to paint.
I saw the line art that you did on the kind of like that was your prototype color scheme, right? And then
This one,
gotcha. Yeah.
yeah.
So I like that. I never thought about using the decal sheet or the decal section of the manual to kind of like help that out. You kind of could get a feel if you want to do a different color.
Yeah, this is my strategy. I know a lot of other people like CD, they like to use uh like um like a paint editing tool on their phone or whatever.
Hmm.
Um we're lucky in this kit that it comes with like a nice clean like decal image that you can work off of, and I think I just downloaded the manual online and then just like photocopied basically like a couple copies of that decal sheet, and then I went in and with some marker to try to work it out. So these were like two like initial ideas that I had um before I ended up going with like a color scheme that's like more accurate to the anime. But yeah, just like another idea to kind of lay down some color and see like if you like how it feels and how it looks before you commit to anything. Yeah.
Like that. I want to
And
start doing that.
yeah, and even for HG kits or kits that don't have like a decal diagram like this, you can often find like line arts on on the internet, and you can just print those out, and then work off of that. And then actually, Cobra Paw shared with me like a strategy that he used that's really cool. Like you can actually take a picture of your kit, or like a picture of an image on the internet of like the model kit or the anime, the mobile suit or whatever, and then you can ask ChatGPT to make a line art of it for you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So yeah, then it'll give you like the image that looks kind of like this, and then you can just like color it, work off of that too. So kind of clever use of AI there. So I mean, from there, um, yeah, I'm just go to paint, and then paint's kind of like my favorite part of the whole thing. So I think you said you went with an insignia blue for some parts of your build. So
Yes.
I chose Splash Insignia Blue for my blue, um, and just like some military red and some yellow orange for like the orange parts. And then my Sam at Splash Paints pointed me towards like a really cool gray that he liked. That's actually a Corvette color. It's called Ceramic Matrix Gray, and
Mm.
it kind of has like a nice kind of gray, like but with like a little bit of like not metallic. It's hard to describe, but it's not just a flat silver. Um, but I use that for basically like all the white areas. And because Coop, you really liked my Mark II, um, real type Mark II that I built, the PG. So I thought, hey, since this is a buddy build with you, I thought I'd kind of give it a little bit of a like a real type sort of look.
Appreciate
And
it.
yeah,
That's
man, and I
dope.
went with I went with like another car color, like a very, very orange. I think it's called like Ford Calypso Coral, and just hit it over the top of a lot of these gray pieces to kind of have that like real type marking look.
So you did. I think we. I would have thought opposite. So you
Hmm.
went all gray first, and then masked off areas where you want the stripe to be, and then painted that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
So
I would have.
yeah,
It's just
you can see like I
right.
just tried to cover everything except for the parts that I wanted in orange, and then sprayed that down. Yeah, and for this, yeah, like when you're doing like straight lines and you wanting them to be symmetrical and stuff, it really helps to have like some anchor points. And you can use like different widths of tape to your advantage. So, like for example, in these binders, I use like I have 1 millimeter masking tape, and then I have 2 millimeter masking tape. So I would lay a 2 millimeter, a 1 millimeter, and then another 2 millimeter, and then
Right.
I would just peel up the 2 millimeters. So that's a perfect 2 millimeter line, if that makes sense. Um,
I would have done the opposite. Not saying there's anything wrong. I think I would have most likely sprayed the piece gray. I mean orange first,
mm,
masked off, like underneath the yellow would have been orange, and then painted everything gray.
I
And then when I
gotcha.
peeled up,
Yeah,
it would have been
I hear what you're
orange.
saying. I think you could do that way too. Um, I was afraid that any overspray of the orange would bleed through the gray
Mm.
because it's not like a super dark color. If it was black, if like all the gray was black, then like yeah, for sure I would do it the way that
Oh,
you
that makes
described
sense.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but that was my main thing is like I didn't want the orange to not be covered up by the gray, and so um I thought gray, yeah, the
Yeah,
hiding
and then
power
you
maybe is
had
not
it.
enough.
That makes sense because then that gray could serve as like a neutral, almost like a primer for it. And then yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. And then so after I got those lines in, especially at the binders, then I did what you did, masked it off again, just exposing that like
Hmm.
middle area, and then I hit it with like a phantom gray to kind of get the end result. So it looks like that. A lot of seam line removal. This was one I did like last minute. This is like the top of the backpack. These are pieces that just come like just attached left and right like that.
Right.
And
Sandwich.
mhm. and I painted it, put it together, and I thought, this seam line, like this is bothering me. I got to do something about it. So I actually went in and fixed it after I painted, sanded all that paint off, and then went back and then painted it again um, to get it where I was happy. And then this is like kind of so those vents that I was talking about. I tried my best and I
Hmm.
just used marker to go in there and touch that up. I wasn't going to go in and try to mask all this off. It felt like
Yeah.
it was too difficult. So a lot of marker work was here. I use a lot of marker for like these seams here, like these huge black bands that go across the kit.
Hmm.
Same thing.
That's a
Marker,
good
same
idea.
thing. Yeah, just get in there with a marker, and then anything that's bleeding out on the top, you can use alcohol or whatever else to clean that up. So that's kind of how I did those areas. And then yeah, same thing as you. Clear coat, decals. Yeah, that's the pretty much the finished kit right there. So
At night. You killed
yeah, and
this
I
shit. What did
and
which one was the dry transfer?
yeah, the one dry transfer that I could get to work was this RX-78 GP03. Yes, that's it. And to me, that was like the most important one.
Right.
And so the fact that I got it, and then I was like, okay, if none of the other ones work, then whatever, it's fine. Um,
You went marker also with the part right there, right where your cursor is? Or is that my cursor? Oh, that's my cursor. Right there on the side,
which part?
on the skirt with the
Oh,
part, the
here.
panel. Yeah.
So this I masked and painted Phantom Gray, but
Mm.
this is the picture I got exposed here. Like, I showed it to Cobra in person, and this is like the first thing he picked out was like, oh, I fixed that. And so like there's some spots there where like I didn't quite mask that well, and you can see like a little bit of paint like chipped off here and a little bit right there. But no, that's all that's all airbrush Phantom Gray. So when I get around to it, I might go back and fix it. But
That looks
yeah,
good, man.
I love how this kit turned out. I think there's something like really nice about these like old proportions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like some of the newer ones get really skinny, but this just had like just some chunk to it that I felt like, Just kind of gives it
And,
like a more robotic feel.
and for the price, if you could find it, shouldn't it be no more than like 35, $40, right? So if you could find it at a good price, I feel like it's an easy cop, an easy pickup, to be honest with you.
Yeah, hard to find a good MG that's cheaper than this one.
Right.
So, I mean, depending on, you know, how you want it to look or whatever, it will be a challenge. It could be a challenge, but I think the end result is worth it for sure.
It's definitely doable. I like what you did with the
So,
gun too. See, like is that marker right there, the gold on the gun?
yeah, just a little marker. Let's try to be careful with it.
I wouldn't even thought of that.
I don't know like where it came from. It's kind of a little loud for me on like when I look back at it, but I thought like something about like a brass chamber or like a gold chamber
Hmm.
to me like feels right. Even though this is like is this a laser can? I don't even know how these weapons work. Like, but it just felt like something like kind of real world. Like, yeah, you could see
Well,
how like a
yours
real
is a
gun
real
might have
type.
something.
It makes sense for it.
Right. But yeah, man, it was a blast building with you. Just again, like we talked about it with my buddy Bill with Cobra and CD. Like anytime you can get a buddy build going, it just
Right.
keeps you inspired, keeps you honest, keeps you
Yeah,
motivated
because
to
you pushed me, man. You was like, hey, let's throw a deadline on it. I was like, shit, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. Because if we'll still be chopping away, then I ain't gonna hold you. We probably still be
yeah, and
and but like you said, a buddy build keeps you honest, man. It keeps you, on your toes because nobody does it in a way where it's intentional, right? Or like rude, like, hey, I'm right here. Like I'm ready. It made me feel like, all right, I have to. When you was like, oh yeah, I'm almost done. I'm like, damn, I have to get going. Right? It kept me on my toes. Because you was like, oh, I'm still scribing and I got half the body done. I did sit back and go, okay, I got some time. I got some time. And then when you said core fighter, I lost the game. I was up 21 nothing. And then a comeback by Ricky. And I lost the game. And I was but a buddy build, especially when and I have this saying, I say to Nick models all the time, it's iron sharpens iron. Especially when somebody could push you to do things and it's not just a normal buddy build in a way where, hey, we're just working on the same kit. Right? Like, hey,
mhm,
it didn't feel like, hey, I got the GP03, you got the GP03, we'll post pictures at the same time. Right? Like you paint yours, I paint. Like I push myself because I know the level of inexperience you are. I couldn't come half-ass, right? And that's what I think buddy builds should be. I mean, yes, they're supposed to be fun and you're supposed to enjoy them, but if you could get something out of it as well, something like underlining, right? Like you
mhm.
scribing at this scale, me shading at this scale, right? Not, and that's what I told Austin. One thing about this build, not everything. What I learned is not everything is competition worthy. I could just paint a kit, learn from it, and be happy with the results, knowing that it might not enter the table for a competition
Right,
because I might have messed up here. I might have messed because I pushed myself. A kit that you learn from. If I'm learning a technique or practicing a technique, that I can't take that to a comp. I have to master that, almost master that technique, and that the kit I mastered it on will be competition. If
right,
that
right.
makes and then
No, absolutely. Yeah,
the shading on this level was something I practice. You don't go out and practice like that's the point of practice, right? Like that you practice, you throw the interceptions in practice, you fumble the ball in practice, right? You miss the shot in practice, so you don't do it in the game. So I learned a lot from just doing this buddy build with you, man. So I appreciate it. I really did.
yeah. And honestly, like this GPO3 would still be in the box if I wasn't building it with you.
Facts.
And but I feel like a better modeler for doing it. And yeah,
Yeah.
just like you were saying, like Is it the perfect build? Did I make mistakes? I made a ton of mistakes, but like I feel like a better modeler for it, right? And I feel like you feel that way too.
Absolutely. And just even the stuff that I love how we didn't mimic each other. Like you didn't do a shaded build, right? Like you doing a scribing on yours and just talking about it. I mean, I don't know if y'all, I have goosebumps just hearing it. And it's because I want to practice scribing. I that question of like, oh, show me how you laid the tape down. That's what I do with Andy, right? And then I go back and take it in a tool shed and work on it. So now I want to scribe. I have everything. I've been intimidated by it because I don't want to mess up on anything. I've been asking questions to CD and Austin, like how why would you scribe a half a millimeter thick, like
Right.
into you scribe half a millimeter into the plastic, but then saying about a half a millimeter of plastic off. Like it felt like it was redundant. He was like, no, no, no. It's not really like a half. You got to remember the canyon in there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
right.
it. I have the broche. I have a boatload of panel line tape um from Gun Primer. Shout out to him. But being able to push my limits and go, okay, you know what? I see Ricky do it. I want to try it. I want to try it. And I want to give it. I want to give it a whirl. So I have a kit in mind that I want to do it for, right? So just seeing that, I was like, all right, cool. I want to. I want to. That's the one I want to do it on. So I appreciate
All
you.
right.
I
Well,
really
listen,
do.
here's what we'll do, man. We'll do another buddy build. This time I'll shade it because I've never shaded a kid before, and then you can scribe it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, man,
We'll
we'll
flip it
go
around.
back. Yeah, we'll go back in that backlog and figure out what kit we had the same. We'll figure it out. I know it's something back there that we got.
Yeah,
But that would be dope. That would be dope though. And then maybe make like a massive buddy build from it. Get other people involved and like
yeah,
push each other. Iron sharpens iron build. Like,
there we go. We'll do an
you know,
undergated group build.
right, where you work on a technique on a kit that you didn't want to do. Like even with this kit, like one thing I did, and shout out to CD, was I put um extra panels. Like there's panels
Oh yeah,
of the shoulders and on the forearms that I've gotten from USA Gundam over the years. And I was like, CD was like, oh yeah, just put some extra panels to give it some more detail. And I was like, all right, yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. And
yeah. That part was really cool too.
so being
Yeah,
able to
it's cool
do
to
that
see.
and add little add-ons, right, to where that pushed me to okay, now okay, where in the future, where will this piece go? Where would that piece go? Not out looking at a kit that has a lot of like curves, right? And he's like, damn, that can't go there because of that. So maybe if I work on a kit that has a lot of curves, purchase a different set of add-on pieces. But this was a truly master class for me when it comes to pushing. Like this is the definition of pushing yourself to learn and to be able to do it with somebody that I call like a brother, man. I appreciate it, man. I really
Yeah,
do.
man. It's same, same, 100%. Before we go, man, I'm gonna hit you with some quick hitter questions. Are you ready?
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. Number one, what's your all-time favorite kit that you've built?
Time favorite kit that I've built has probably have to be. I really enjoy my Moon Gundam. I did a color shift on that with SMS. I really enjoyed it. It's at Hobby Town now.
Nice. All right, so people can go to that. Is that
Right.
the Richmond one?
No, it's the Yorktown one. Actually,
Yorktown.
technically, my first shaded kit. So that was my first shaded kit. But that one's probably my favorite.
All right. How many kits in the backlog do you think?
Next question. Now, probably roughly, I want to say between 100 to 120.
Nice. Okay. And like, what's the breakdown? Like, how many HGs, MGs, whatever else?
My earlier years, I was heavy in the master grade. Then I realized 144th was for toy photography, so I needed to get a lot of 144th. But some of the kits, though, I mean, like I chalked it up. Like some of them Gundam Wing kits that I have are just going to be collectibles. I don't think I'm gonna like. I have the all the well, don't have them all anymore. I need to get the Eagle unit again, and I need to get the Liao unit again. But like the Endless Waltz ones from P Bandai, the Rosette, the Armadillo, all of those, I have those in the backlog, but I don't think I want to build them.
Yeah,
So
just to hang on to.
probably,
I
yeah,
got you.
probably 70, 144. Outside of like, I also have like a lot of Transformer kits too. So, and some girl kits in there. So probably, and then 30 master grades, probably.
All right, nice. Yeah.
Give it a
Um,
few
do you
160s.
have a grill? Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Um,
have a grill
uh,
kit?
I do have a grill kit and I have it, which is the a grill kit that I'm gonna eventually do when my skills get up there is the MadWorks resin kit for the Sotheby's. That's always been my grill kit, the RG Sotheby with the resin mat works on it. I had it the combination for probably like 4 years. I just haven't gotten the skills to it. And because I always told myself future Coop is going to appreciate if you don't do it now.
Mm.
Future Coop will appreciate it if you don't do it now. And I've gone and I've like went in my backlog, seen kits, and I said, thanks, Coop, for not building it. Because there's some kits in my backlog that I'm like, I want to get to it right now. And I was like, nah, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But even now, I'm not there yet. So I'm like, that is a kit that I have in my backlog that is a grail that I will eventually get to. It's a grail like a diorama because I have an image in my head of how I want that kit to be presented to in a diorama.
Nice. See, you and Austin, same answer. He's like he's got his grail, but he's like, I'm not gonna build it until I know where my skills are at, like
Right.
where I can do it justice. So, all right. If you had a signature color, what would that color be?
Signature color. My favorite color is red. So probably like a bright, probably like a bright flat red or satin red, like a satin red. That would probably be my if I could get a satin like a you spray it and it looks like it's satin and it's like a good like what you could do on like a Sazabi or a Sinaju, a satin red or like a bright flat fire engine red. That would probably be my signature color.
Good answer. Um, what is your least favorite part of the building process?
Organizing runners. Organizing runners. I think that if I could have if Bandai would do all the kits they did with that Project Evo, what was it? Project Evo? I don't know if you remember that. The Project Evo they did. Like on certain boxes, Gunpla 30-minute project, something like that. On certain boxes, like you go look at the kit, it'll have like a white and red logo on it, right? Like the Unicorn RG. There's some of them. The Zeta. They put together the pieces in sections. So all the left arms on the left hand side of the runner, the heads on this runner. So they put like so. If I could have everything like that, that would be perfect. Because I hate like a PG. You have to like
Yeah,
WR. Like you sort
yeah,
like if I
yeah,
had
yeah.
everything ready to go right there, it would make it easier. So sorting through a lot of runners. When there's a little bit of runners, fine, but PG size runners, big master grades, I hate it.
Okay. What's your favorite part of the building process?
The finished product, probably. That's too much of an obvious answer. Um, Probably
Oh,
now. But that's everybody would say the finished product, right? So I want to say water slides. I think water slides is my favorite part of the process because it takes
nice.
a dull kit and makes it pop, especially
100%.
like a piece. So like you look at like the body. and you decal the body like, oh, there it's coming together now, and then like it looks way better than what it was without the decal. So water slides.
Absolutely. What are you watching or listening to while you build?
Lofi on, and depending on what I'm building, I might run the show, right? Like if I'm working on a narrative or unicorn, I might run unicorn. Like with this one, I want 0083, but it's nothing new. So Lofi for music, um, or if I could have it my way, it would be build sessions with the fellas. So I'll get like you, CD, Austin, all sit down and kind of like chill and clip out pieces and put pieces together. That'd be what I would want as a perfect night of a build when I'm building.
Perfect. Do you have a kit you regret buying or you way overpaid for?
Every kit that I regret. Yeah, I regret buying. Not regret buying. What kind of regret buying? That I way overpaid for the high grade Gushan Full City rebate from IBO. I was at a convention. I had it in my hand. I FaceTime CD. CD said, "Yo, $40 ain't bad. Yo, we ain't seeing that kit no time soon." A week later, it restocked $20. That's that I paid 100% over markup for that kit. It was 40. I was at Katsucon like 2020, and I found it there, and I was so hyped because I couldn't find it nowhere. And I was on an IBO kick. I finally found it. It was on a with a purple sticker, black permanent marker, $40 on the box. I was like, that's it. And then CD was like, yeah, you're not gonna find it anywhere else, dog. And literally a week later, it restocked at Hobby Town for $20. I was hot.
Damn. Damn. All right.
But that's
Two
about
more.
it. All right.
That's
This
a
is
good
fun,
answer.
man.
Who's one builder or creator that you think is deserves more love or is way better than their follower count?
Wow. There's a lot of people out there. That's why we do like sometimes we do the creators corner.
Yeah.
Um, man, if you see the work Pencil Knight be doing and what he does on a that takes that what Pencil Knight does with his LEDs is phenomenal. So I want to say Pencil Knight. Watching a growth process from him, from well, like I think the first time I went to ODO, he had the PGX here with different lights in the side and the lights going, and what he does now, I think Pencil Knight deserves way more love. Like he should be up there with like when people think of like EA Gunpla and you know, what's my man's name? Casey Labs and all them, right? From or like scribe work. I want him to be he should be known as like the LED guy when it comes to
Mm,
LED. When it like when you talk about LED and like LEDs and Gunpla, Pencil Knight for sure should be the number one.
nice. Yeah, good choice. And last question, who should we get on the pod next? And the twist is you gotta convince them to talk to me.
Oh, that's easy. Pencil Knight.
Okay. And do an LED episode with Pencil Knight? All
Yeah,
right.
because I think the way Pencil Knight can let people know how to LED work is so intimidating. It's so intimidating with filaments and bending of wire and the way he can explain it to somebody that I think he will explain it in a way to where it will help maybe that person that's on the edge of all right, I want to dabble in it. Because when I thought about LED work, I'm thinking like soldering. I need
Hmm.
this, I need that. Like I don't have none of that stuff. I'm not doing it. And then you talk to Pencil Knight, he's like, all right, maybe I'll just do it one time. Like maybe I'll get, he'll give you the link when it comes to like, oh, go on Evans Designs and go here and get this LED light. So I think Pencil Knight will help somebody get over the hump when it comes to putting LEDs in their kits. And
I
it's
like that.
something
That's
outside of
actually,
yeah, it's outside of the normal, right? I mean, you talk to a whole lot of
yeah,
builders who paint, scribe, like it'd be dope to get some builders up here to LED work. Um, person I
yeah.
watch a lot. I mean, his diorama game is crazy. Who is boy Hobby Time? Like he just makes a whole lot of dope work in general. But he done some gunpla kits, and his stuff is great too. So, but
Yeah,
pencil knight
that's a
for
good
sure.
idea. Yeah, I hadn't thought about LEDs as a topic for the episode, but I think that's an awesome idea. So, pencil
Absolutely.
light, if you're hearing
It'd
this,
be that
hit
one
me up.
little
Yeah.
right. It'd be that one little light that it'd be the mono eye, and people be like, "Oh damn, now my kid is elevated," and then that'd be the help from pencil knight and Ricky glues in a new type notebook. If I didn't watch that episode, if I didn't watch the episode of the new type notebook you had with pencil knight, I would have never known how to do that. You're gonna get that, right? You're gonna get that. When that's gonna be a dope feeling. So I
Yeah,
think pencil
if
knight.
I can help a couple people out each episode like that, then it makes it all worth it for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, Coop, it's been awesome talking to you. It's been awesome building with you. Appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you.
Mark.
Yeah, appreciate you being a brother of mine and having me on the Undergated and everything like that has been a blast. So
Absolutely. Keep up
we'll
the
do this
good work.
again, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation and our builds. My big takeaway working with Coop is that sometimes, in order to get better at something, we need to practice and not worry about things being perfect. Whether we compete with a build or not, post it online or don't, each kit is a journey towards making us better at our craft. And an older kit like the GP03 is a great way to test your skills as a builder. Once again, you can catch Coop at It's Coop on Instagram and Wednesdays every week at the Undergated podcast. Thanks for listening and happy building. Newtype Notebook has an official sponsor, and that's Splash Paints. Splash makes up 80 or 90% of my paint collection. It's great, ready to spray airbrush lacquer paints made in Oregon. Super smooth, great coverage, super durable. They have everything you could need to bring your model to the next level. Primers, mecha colors, including the classic Evangelion colors, military colors, metallics, not to mention hundreds of car colors. I personally love using the military colors in my mecha builds just to give them a real-world sensibility. The Candy Red and 2K Clear were my secret weapons for my RE100 Nightingale. And I won't use any other paint brands for my 124 scale car kits. You can order Splash Paints direct from splash-paints.com. Splash will be giving away paints to a lucky Newtype Notebook listener for every episode of this season. Keep an eye on the Undergated Network Instagram for more details.